Welcome viewers to the Forbidden Archives. Today we uncover ancient history's dark secrets. When Joshua ordered the sun to stand still, the Bible cited a deeply mysterious missing text. Known as the Book of Jasher, this military record is filled with horrific violence and dark magic. Why did the church hide this text? Because it transforms our gentle moral lessons into bloody nightmares. Prepare yourself, because the ancient world of the Patriarchs was actually a brutal and ruthless battlefield. Joshua stood victoriously on the battlefield, raising his staff to command the burning sun to stop. The Canaanite armies fled in absolute terror as the blinding light froze time itself in the sky. According to the ancient scriptures, this incredible miracle was proven by the lost Book of Jasher. But what exactly is this forgotten text, and why was it entirely banished from the Holy Canon? Deep within underground libraries, scholars cautiously examine these forbidden ancient leather scrolls. The official Bible focuses mainly on spiritual covenants and peaceful lessons of divine salvation. However, Jasher reveals a terrifyingly different reality filled with endless warfare and bloodshed. It is an ancient military chronicle that completely shatters our innocent view of the Patriarchs. Every torn page uncovers shocking historical gaps that the traditional texts intentionally left out. Have you ever wondered how the Egyptian sorcerers wielded such immense and terrifying dark powers? Or why Joseph's own brothers possessed the absolute cruelty to sell him into slavery in Egypt? The Book of Jasher provides the brutal answers, exposing the harsh political reality of the past. If you discovered that your sacred history was heavily censored, would you still believe the truth? The truth is that ancient leaders relied heavily on both military strategy and forbidden sorcery. Now, let us dive into the darkest shadows of this forgotten era to uncover the bloody origins. The Book of Jasher intricately details the immense magical knowledge of the ancient Egyptian priests. Long before Moses confronted the powerful Pharaoh, dark sorcery deeply ruled the desert kingdoms. Sinister priests wearing lapis lazuli amulets chanted forbidden spells around unnatural blue flames. They inherited their terrifying magical arts from ancient demons roaming the post-flood wastelands. This hidden text explains exactly how these sorcerers could briefly match the divine miracles shown. But the cruelty of this ancient world extended far beyond the dark temples of the Egyptian kings. It deeply infected the nomadic tribes where survival required ruthless ambition and cold betrayal. The story of Joseph being sold by his brothers is often taught as a simple tale of jealousy. However, Jasher reveals a highly complex and violent political conspiracy among the desert shepherds. They did not merely envy his colored coat, they viciously plotted to secure tribal dominance now. Gripping their wooden staffs, the brothers held a brutal trial beneath the scorching desert sun. Bloodlines meant absolutely nothing when facing the desperate struggle for power and scarce resources. The harsh environment forged men of iron, capable of committing unthinkable crimes against their kin. Would you sacrifice your own flesh and blood to ensure your tribe's survival in a dying world? This brutal pragmatism was the true law of the ancient Middle East, hidden from modern believers. Jasher forces us to look directly at the darkest corners of human nature without any filter. Every chapter is heavily stained with the tragic consequences of absolute power and fierce ambition. And yet, the most shocking revelation of all involves two two of the most famous men in history: the legendary hunter Esau and the infamous Babylonian tyrant widely known as King Nimrod the Great. The official Bible simply calls Nimrod a mighty hunter before the Lord who built the Great Tower. But Jasher completely rewrites this narrative, exposing a violent theological true crime of epic scale. The ultimate source of Nimrod's terrifying power was not a crown, but a sacred stolen artifact. According to the Forbidden Archives, Nimrod possessed the original animal skin garments of Adam. These mystical clothes were crafted by the Creator when humanity was banished from the garden. The ancient leather glowed with a dark magical aura, granting its wearer invincible physical strength. Wearing this divine relic, Nimrod brutally conquered nations and enslaved thousands for his massive tower. He became the world's first tyrant, striking absolute fear into the hearts of all nomadic tribes. But deep in the wilderness, another legendary hunter was actively watching and waiting for his chance. Esau, a wild and heavily muscular man, secretly stalked the great king across the harsh terrain. He knew that whoever possessed Adam's magical garments would completely rule the ancient world forever. On a fateful day, the Book of Jasher reveals that Esau ambushed Nimrod in the rocky wilderness. A savage and bloody death match erupted between the two fiercest warriors of the ancient era. The mighty Nimrod, despite his magical armor, was completely overpowered by Esau's wild ferocity. With a brutal strike, Esau severed the tyrant's head and immediately claimed the glowing relic. He threw the cursed leather garments over his own shoulder, feeling the dark surge of power. But his triumphant victory was incredibly short-lived, as Nimrod's massive army discovered the body. The ruthless Babylonian hunters, accompanied by vicious tracking hounds, aggressively chased the assassin. Esau desperately fled across the scorching desert sands, enduring an absolutely hellish marathon. He crawled through the brutal wasteland, bleeding heavily and completely exhausted beyond human limits. The once proud hunter was reduced to a miserable state, covered entirely in dirt, sweat, and blood. He finally reached the nomadic camp of his brother Jacob, barely clinging to his fragile life. Jacob stood calmly inside the shaded tent, slowly stirring a thick pot of red lentil stew. The Bible simply claims Esau sold his birthright because he was slightly tired and very hungry. But the Book of Jasher dramatically changes this context into a frantic struggle for pure survival. Esau was not just hungry, he was dying from severe blood loss and relentless exhaustion. He traded his valuable birthright for a single bowl of stew just to survive the horrific night. The glowing garments of Adam remained hidden, a silent witness to this tragic exchange of fate. Jacob cleverly seized the ultimate political advantage, securing the patriarchal lineage forever. The violent murder of a king and a desperate escape were entirely erased from the official text. This shocking historical twist completely redefines the foundation of the sacred biblical narratives. It transforms a simple moral story about patience into a bloody tale of assassination and theft. The sanitized scriptures successfully hid the brutal reality of how power truly shifted in the past. Deep within the quiet archives, the scholar slowly rolls up the ancient and worn leather parchment. The Book of Jasher may lack the divine spiritual salvation found in the traditional Holy Scriptures. However, it brutally reminds us that the ancient world was never a peaceful landscape of harmony. It was a terrifying battlefield completely soaked in ancient magic, ruthless ambition, and dark blood. The editors of the Bible purposefully removed these violent accounts to protect the pure faith. They wanted believers to focus entirely on divine grace rather than the savage nature of humanity. But history, no matter how deeply buried, always finds a way to reveal its darkest ancient secrets. The secret relics of the Creator can easily become terrible weapons of mass destruction for mankind. The garments of Adam carried the heavy weight of the original sin and the fall of paradise. Among all historical figures, only one man witnessed both the absolute glory of Eden and its ruin. The very first man of humanity, Adam, lived for over 900 years on this cursed earth. Before his tragic death, he left behind a genuinely terrifying prophecy for his surviving children. He warned them clearly about two upcoming massive apocalyptic destructions that would cleanse the world. What exact apocalyptic secrets did he reveal in his final moments to the generations of the past? Click the link on screen to discover the lost prophecy of Adam and uncover the next dark truth. Jasher reveals a terrifying truth. Was hiding this violent past a wise choice to protect our faith? Or do we deserve to know the world's bloody origins? Please share your deepest thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this dark historical journey, remember to like the video, share it, and subscribe.